Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, the Batman review marathon's still continuing, and yep, you read the title. Now we've come to the next installment in the Batman franchise, and, once again, directed by Joel Schumacher. Yep, and that, of course, being Batman and Robin. Oh boy, what do I have to say about Batman and Robin? I'm sure you guys are, wondering and just very interested, I guess. I don't know. Probably. What I have to say about Batman and Robin. Well, oh God, I don't know, because I think it's okay, because the way I just said it, okay, that's what I think. So, I understand, like, it is considered one of the worst Batman films, but I've said this before in my review earlier today in my review of Batman Forever. I said this before, and I'll say it again about, Batman Forever and this Batman Returns. Batman Returns, God, getting mixed up. Batman and Robin, Okay, so on Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. These two movies tried their best, and I know that, and I'm sure, Joel Schumacher tried his best too. But the thing is, as I recall, and I'm sure I've read this, Warner Brothers just kept interfering. It's just So, and Joel Schumacher just didn't have complete control. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. And even like Joel Schumacher, he even apologized for Batman and Robin, which that was nice of him. So and the right thing to do. But yeah, so Batman and Robin, I can understand it's one of the worst Batman films, But again, I'm sure that I'm sure this movie tried its best, and I think there are a few good things from this. Just saying, you'll find out as I'm talking about them, and this time, Batman/Bruce Wayne being played by George Clooney. Now, I know that if my dad, aka Little Blue, if he was reviewing this with me, he would be saying this too, and as I'm gonna say this too, we both think that George Clooney's Batman/Bruce Wayne was good. Now, let me explain. It's just that, because of the direction that Batman and Robin was taking, if George Clooney was in a different Batman movie, that was better and was good, then George Clooney would have been perfect in that, because he would have fit. But just in this movie, I'm trying the best to explain, and I know that Little Blue would too. So, probably as though, maybe hopefully I'll have him. I'll ask him. I'll have him explain why. Like when he joins me once again later on. So, okay, and of course, Chris O'Donnell returns as Robin/Dick Grayson, and of course, Michael Goff as Alfred Pennyworth, and Pat Hingle as Commissioner James Gordon. But with a new addition of actors. Yep, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, and with those puns, let's kick some ice, and what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. There is one I kind of like, and that is tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming. I don't know. There's something about just the way he says it. Just I don't know. I kind of like it. So, and that shot where he pops up and there's a magnifying glass or whatever it is. It's something, and his mouth is big. From the glass. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. And the opening fight action sequence with Batman and Robin fighting off against Mr. Freeze, and later on because other characters like John Glover, who is Floronic Man, I guess, and also Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. You know what? I honestly like Uma Thurman. She looked good as Poison Ivy. I think she was a perfect choice for Poison Ivy. I think she pulled off the likeness for Poison Ivy. from, like, some of the costumes, you know, stuff like that. And also, it's when John Glover is, like, presenting something of making, like muscle machine men or something. I forget how it's put, but, you know. And what's his face, who was Jason in X-Men 2? God, I forget his name, but he was Bane before, like, becoming strong and big. But when, like, Bane becomes big and such, and with the toxic, like, whatever it is, like, you know, like, put in his body, and it kind of makes him green. The late Jeep Swenson was Bane, and, you know, he was okay, like, because I think he was the perfect body for Bane, so, you know, and fun fact, because a couple of months after the release of Batman Robin, he would sadly pass away, so, yeah. Yeah, and also, oh my gosh, and I forgot about this, that a young Eric Lloyd, like, well, I mean, he was a bit older, like, after being in the Santa Claus, you know, he was Bruce Wayne, a young Bruce Wayne, because we get a couple of flashbacks of, you know, when Bruce Wayne is remembering the times, you know, with Alfred, because here's another thing that you know what, that I'm sure this tried its best. Alfred is coming down with a disease, and he's not feeling very well. He's ill and such, and I'm sure that whole thing, it tried its best, and I believe as though it did. And not to mention, one thing that I'm sure tried its best was, well, the story, like, Mr. Freeze's heartbreaking backstory, his origin from trying to cure his wife and becoming Mr. Freeze. That's the most important thing to Mr. Freeze, to the character Mr. Freeze, you know what I'm saying? That's just, wow. And again, I'm sure as though that and with what was wrong with Alfred, they tried their very best, you know? And that's another thing, because that's one of those things where I thought was close to being good. Like, that was kind of good, because of, you know, from Mr. Freeze trying to cure his wife and to be reunited with his wife, and when Alfred comes down with a disease, you know? Anyways, but even at one point, because, well, Batman and Robin, like, they're at this, what is it, like, this auction and such, you know, and, like, the women there, and Poison Ivy showing up, and, like, using her dust or whatever to, like, hypnotize everybody, including Batman, Robin, and they're bidding on Poison Ivy, and that's when, of course, yep, the infamous Bat credit card, yep, and, you know, never leave the cave without it. And then Mr. Freeze breaking in, like, steals, like, the diamond that I guess he was looking for, and takes it from Poison Ivy. And then at one point, Mr. Freeze is arrested and captured and thrown into Arkham Asylum, and that's when later on Poison Ivy and Bane, they break Mr. Freeze out, and oh yeah, and we of course then get the appearance of Barbara. Yep, and one thing that doesn't really quite make sense is, well, Barbara Gordon, or if her last name is Gordon, I really can't remember. Barbara in this film is the nephew of Alfred, and, you know, Alfred being Barbara's uncle. But in the comics, Barbara is the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. So, God, why did they change that? That just, I don't know. I really don't know. And yeah, Elisa Silverstone, who plays Barbara, I'm sure that, I guess, like, she tried her very best, even when, like, say that she's upset over her uncle just being a servant, you know, and working and such. And another thing that I'm sure this movie tried its best is about family. And when Bruce Wayne doesn't trust Robin just getting himself hurt or anything like that, and when just it pisses off Dick Grayson, you know, Robin, I should say, well, Dick Grayson / Robin. And, you know, even when, like, say, like, the hypnotism, like, is really getting to Dick Grayson, and I think a little bit on Batman, but he does, of course, solve this, and, you know, because, you know, he establishes to Dick Grayson that, you know, because of being hypnotized by Poison Ivy, you know, and when, you know, at one point there is a fight between Batman Robin with Bane, and I like when, like, but right before Bane shows up, like, Batman's like, no beauty, and when Bane pops up, you know, and Robin says, you know, just the beast, like, yeah, good one. I mean, it makes sense, you know, that Bane is the beast, so, you know, he is a beast, and that's another thing, Bane, most of the time, just roared, you know, the way he spoke was just, you know, like, just, you know, Bane, you know, Bane can talk, give me a break, it's just, God, and you made him, like, roar and stuff like that, just, I don't know, I guess because of this version of Bane and how we see Bane become Bane, you know what I'm saying, like, because of being muscular and stuff like that, you know, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because another love interest in this for Bruce, like Julie Madison, played by Ellie Macpherson. I think I said that right. Yeah, like is Bruce's love interest in this, and yeah, and I'm trying to remember what else. Yeah, because even Robin just like having enough of like, you know, joining alongside Batman and like wanting his own signal, and you know, even at one point, because when, you know, Bruce, you know, just confronts Robin and just tells him, you know, and that's when, you know, they go in and like they stop Poison Ivy, but right before that, because well, Barbara is like trying to enter into a computer and like trying to get information. I kind of forget a little bit, but even at one point, like Barbara, like she was doing motorcycle action, dangerous motorcycle action, and she was doing this, and even after her parents were killed, and when Barbara finds out about, you know, the Batcave and the whole thing of Batman Robin, and well, finding out, of course, that Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are Batman Robin, and finding you know, a message, like on the Bat computer, you know, interactive Alfred, I want to say, you know, Alfred, like, you know, created like a computer like version of himself, and you know, I forget the word. I'm trying to remember what the word is I'm looking for, but oh well. And one line that my parents have told me this many times, and that just like that's what they would do when Barbara says, "Suit me up, Uncle Alfred." Yeah, that could have been that line could have been a whole lot better. You know what I mean? Just yeah. I don't know, because maybe the way she's saying it, or I don't know. I don't know what to make up with that line. It could have been a whole lot better. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know. And here's another thing that I forgot to mention, because, well, with the costumes, like, well, of course, most notably talking about Batman and Robin's suits. You, of course, like, and I forgot to mention this in my review of Batman Forever. With the bat suit, it features the bat nipples, God. And same thing with Robin's costume, and also it has butt cheeks. And the same thing with Batgirl's costume, like, you know, bat nipples, of course, you know, like the boobs and the butt cheeks too. Just, what were they thinking, obviously? What were they thinking? I think there's one exception, like with, say, the bat suit and Robin's suit. Like, it has ribs to it. Well, like, Michael Keaton's bat suit had ribs to it, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and did I forget to mention, like, say, the Batmobiles? I totally forgot to mention the Batmobile design in Batman Forever and and this one in Batman Robin. Well, to be honest, I don't think those two Batmobiles are that bad. I think they're cool looking. Like, I like how Val Kilmer's Batmobile has, like, ribs to it, and there's, like, and the way the lighting is inside of the Batmobile, it's pretty cool, and the way that George Clooney's Batmobile looks, it's not that bad, too. I like that there's, like, an engine, like, spinning right in the front of the Batmobile, just saying. But, yeah, and even, like, say, some of the other vehicles, like, well, of course, like, Robin's motorcycle, like his Robin bike, I want to say, Mr. Freeze's giant, like, freeze tank. Batgirl had a Batcycle, I want to say. Not that much to say on that one. Even when at one point, Poison Ivy, I forgot to mention this, Poison Ivy pulls the plug on Mr. Freeze's wife. And she blames it on Batman, you know. frames Batman for it, saying to Mr. Freeze that Batman killed Mr. Freeze's wife and, is seeking revenge, like, I guess, on Batman, but also that Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, they plan to, freeze the entire world, first with Gotham, then the entire world, freeze the entire world, and then Poison Ivy would plant, plants and stuff like that, and, and as Mr. Freeze would say, as Mr. Freeze says, Adam and Evil, I guess that's what he says, like Adam and Eve, or Evil, I can't remember. And at one point, because, the defeat of Poison Ivy, because at first Batman and Robin tried to stop her, but of course they fail, and Batgirl steps in and defeats Poison Ivy after a plant of Poison Ivy's, kind of swallows her almost, I want to say, I don't know. But the next time we see her would be in Arkham Asylum, and that's when Bane and Mr. Freeze, they hijack where the giant, Gotham City telescope is, and I forgot to mention that because, Bruce Wayne and his foundation, do it with this thing with a telescope, and Mr. Freeze and Bane are there, and the epic showdown between Batman, Robin, Batgirl, the three of them against Mr. Freeze and Bane, and at one point they change costumes, what are they for anyways? Why did they change costumes? Does it have to do something with, say, because of what Mr. Freeze has been doing, because of freezing Gotham and stuff like that? Because they're wearing black, and there's, silverish gray to the suits. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Well, even in Batman Forever, Batman did change into that kind of costume as well, so I really don't know. But anyways, so the defeat of Mr. Freeze, Batman defeats Mr. Freeze, Robin and Batgirl defeat Bane by, basically unplugging, the tube and such, of the liquid, toxic and such, and he shrinks back down, so that's it for Bane. And Batman, saves these two scientists, who were they again? I forget. I don't know. I think one of them is Kimberly Scott, the actress Kimberly Scott. The Observatory, I think that's it, yeah. But Batman confronting Mr. Freeze, and he tells Mr. Freeze that he didn't kill his wife, it was Poison Ivy, after showing a recording that Batman happened to have, because, couldn't have been, say, audio or just something, and he would have said Poison Ivy's name, This audio is the voice of Poison Ivy. Batman could have said something like that, and we didn't have to see footage. We would just have to hear Poison Ivy's voice. And Batman asks for Victor Freeze's help, because with Alfred, being sick and such. And I think it turns out that Alfred has the same disease, coincidentally, that Mr. Freeze's wife has. And Mr. Freeze does help Batman, and, save Alfred. And, yeah, Alfred is all cured and better. So, excuse me. And also we come back to, say, Arkham Asylum and Poison Ivy in her cell and just totally messed up in her hair and with this flower and, loves me, he loves me not. And as she says, loves me, and we hear not, and Mr. Freeze is there, and surprise, I'm your new cellmate, and I'm about to make your life a living hell, or I think that's what he says. I really can't remember, but something that he says of, living hell or whatever. And the epilogue, because, they learn, I guess, Robin and Batgirl, learned the lesson of family and such, because that was one thing that was going on in the film. And like in Batman Forever, the last shot where, Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, they're running right at the camera and with the bat signal behind them. Yeah, Batman and Robin, I understand for it being the worst Batman film, as many consider it, but as I've been saying in my review and what I think of this movie, you heard it right there and then. And how do I rate this? Good question. Yeah, what the heck? No, 6 out of 10, sorry. 6 out of 10 stars for Batman and Robin. I enjoy it. Like, to me, I think it's fun to watch. Just like say, well, for the Batman 60 show, it is campy and corny, but there's just something about it, and it's fun to watch. But there's a difference, definitely. I mean, but, Batman Robin, I think, to me, is fun to watch. And everything that I said about this film, I established it very well and clear. So, and you guys let me know you guys let me know what you think of Batman Robin, what you thought of my review. And yeah, leave comments and give this review a like as always. So again, 6 out of 10 stars for Batman Robin. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Batman and Robin. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And yep, the Batman review marathon is still continuing. And once again, we are returning to the realm of animation with one Batman animated film that would come out a year after Batman Robin, which has to do something with Mr. Freeze. So stay tuned for my review of Batman Subsuit Zero Mr. Freeze. Take care, and peace out.